What if the greatest war in history was shaped not by weapons, but by words never meant to be read, here, inside a quiet archive where time itself seems to hesitate? Light filters through tall, dust-coated windows, landing on a single wooden table. I'm moving through the stacks, my fingertips grazing rows of sealed boxers, their labels fading to a letter. Then, I pause at one. It's marked only with a code and a date, its string still tied tight. As I untangle the knot, a hush deeper than silence fills the air. When the lid lifts, the scent of old ink and aged paper escapes like a breath held for decades. Inside, envelopes rest in perfect order, their wax seals cracked but intact enough to whisper importance. Each one bears a familiar signature, confident, sweeping, unmistakable. They are letters, private reflections from a man who once shouldered the weight of the free world. This discovery isn't just historical, it feels spiritual. These aren't the grand speeches we all remember. They are the quiet drafts, the words written at 2 in the morning, somewhere between crises and conviction, where leadership sounds less like a command and more like a confession. In one, written on stationery brown by age, he speaks of sleepless nights, of voices crackling from the wireless, of the profound loneliness that comes with certainty. He writes, "There are moments when courage is not loud, but deliberate." As I read the line aloud, the echo seems to answer from the walls. Each letter is a window into the unseen mechanics of resolved fear, transformed into focus. Fatigue transmuted into faith. Look closely at the nibs and paper, the candle stubs burned to their base, the shimmer of sealing wax. These letters reveal how decisions were born in solitude long before they became public commands. They chart the very rhythm of crisis. A telegram arrives, the world shifts, and a man sits down to write. Sometimes his words reach allies half a world away. Other times, they remain folded, carried only by his conscience. I trace the marginalia sketches of weather fronts, quick calculations. Single words like patience or endure underlined 3 times. It becomes clear these letters were never meant for public eyes. They were a form of therapy, a search for clarity, a fragile bridge between thought and action. Each page pulses with a powerful restraint. You won't find declarations of glory here, only a constant, grinding battle between doubt and duty. And yet, through that restraint, you sense a power greater than any order shouted from a podium. Here, leadership becomes intimate, the voice of a man who knows that millions of lives depend on the steadiness of his pen. It was here, in these quiet moments, that language itself became the most reliable weapon of the era. When supply lines faltered and alliances trembled, it was the precision of words that held everything together. One memorandum, dated during the height of tension, contains the line, "A word poorly chosen can wound an ally as surely as a bullet." Another reads, "Encouragement must arrive before ammunition." In these phrases, you find a profound realization. Morale, that invisible force that moves nations, is written, not manufactured. The letters describe negotiations conducted entirely through correspondence, with coded phrases exchanged by couriers who risked everything just to carry ideas. As they unfold, you start to see how bureaucracy and poetry intertwine when survival depends on clarity. Every comma, every pause, is a calculation of consequence. Midway through the archive, I find a section unlike the rest. Pages unnumbered, corners torn, the ink thinner, the handwriting shaking slightly. These are personal reflections, written after nights of bombardment when sleep was impossible. I have seen courage where no eyes could see. One begins, another ends. We are all at war with despair, but hope, too, demands discipline. In these raw fragments lies the private cost of leadership. Through these letters, the myth becomes mortal. The man who spoke for millions also wrote for himself, using words as both his weapon and his refuge. Now, let's reconstruct the journey these letters took. They were drafted in underground rooms lit by generator lamps, then typed by secretaries who understood the gravity of silence. Couriers folded them into waterproof pouches and carried them through blackout nights, across fields where even moonlight was suspect. Some were delivered, others vanished into the chaos of history. resurfacing decades later in private collections or forgotten attics. One letter surfaced in a small coastal town, hidden inside a clock repair shop. The shopkeeper had inherited it without knowing its value. Inside was a single, unsigned page reading. "If we lose the paper, we lose the memory." That simple line becomes the core of it all. Words preserve what war would otherwise erase. This brings us to a larger truth. Archives themselves are battlegrounds of memory. For every letter we have preserved, countless others were lost to flame or fear. The survival of these few is an accident of faith. Perhaps history isn't written by the victors, but by the survivors, by those whose handwriting outlasted their heartbeat. Here, in restoration workshops, you can see conservationists breathing gently on parchment, as if exhaling life back into the words. And then I find it. A letter that seems to close the circle. It begins with logistical instructions, but then drifts into meditation. If we are remembered only for our victories, we will be misunderstood. Remember us for our endurance. That line bridges time. Written in crisis, it reads like advice for every generation that follows. This isn't just nostalgia, it's guidance. Leadership, it suggests, is not the art of command, but the patience to write when the world is breaking apart. These words resonate beyond the context of war. They apply to boardrooms, classrooms, and our own living rooms. They remind us that civilization endures through communication, through the simple act of recording thought in an age of deafening noise. As I step out of the archive and back into the daylight, the modern city hums around me. In my hands, a copy of the letters glows faintly in the sun. Every age has its crises. Every generation, its letters. I look up at the glass towers reflecting the clouds, their surfaces etched with the same ambition that once filled those pages. Somewhere inside them, new leaders are writing emails, memos, and speeches, the digital descendants of the handwritten courage that helped save a world. The words may change form, but the intent endures. So tell me, if one man's letters could help rebuild the world from darkness, whose words are shaping our tomorrow? Thank you for joining me on this journey. If you found this story as moving as I did, please consider liking this video and subscribing for more explorations into the hidden corners of history. See you next time.